Boom, ana SC boss breaking news about the Attorney General emergency press conference or kaka ho and then no address the public on the Constitutional Review Committee near man by no next emergency or kakrafa Sedina Tamakloe and was say or court. But interestingly, or 31st legal vacation minimum beginning I guess one meti am correct me. Into a Supreme Court better say very interesting say well what the director of public prosecution Samasa Debbie at Senate Godfred 2024 meaning again it was a good judgment. In fact, on the critical analyst channel yakọ dege deputy attorney general no your prosecution no so what said ya Dr. Dominic Ayeni on court Dr. Shams Aneko most deputy no na in charge of prosecution no no prosecuting case no you convicted Sedina Tamakloe wakasa. But I've also done this breakdown a lot of times with the ruling, but I've summarized it. 9 reasons a high court ni jina so the convicting Madam Sedina Tamakloe no. Me de be ma me tro na hu se me senior colleague Richard Kwadwonya akon formerly of Joy News so why it me copy the amount. I think said that grounds is there. On the 98 page no meet me hwemu asisi a no animu ya mo membre. Me hwem the abro mo then Attorney General aka so say Godfred was right. Godfred was right. Sedina Tamakloe must be jailed. Now again, no can say no go Supreme Court keke or ko stay. Me the nini abe bro in this video. Now I will explain to you what it means for criminal jurisprudence. Mo fenchem na me di banku. Ma Robinson say me di banku na ba be break ya mama anti. Be ye kakra fenchem. Let's subscribe ya mama. Or subscribe and click the notification. Me the video be at mo be hu. No wait much. We have a comment. Feel free leave that comment in the comments section. You make sure so be Goldberry construction limited online episode cinema sase kratasem the documentations related to your house and Goldberry. E be the sage money na at the amount. Now me post the second video na mo say Attorney General True Felix Kwachu for say release statement say on my appeal the sentence no. Consequently, hey, but when I'm can consequently, right? Consequently, now who say Jubilee House so I call live because I'm on the notification. Because yeah, Attorney General Government Accountability Series or because about Constitutional Review Committee no the firm in the next 3 minutes. The government decision on Sedina Tamakloe any.
This morning, the Court of Appeal issued a decision unanimously acquitting and discharging Sedina Tamakloe, who was convicted of various offenses in absentia because, she was standing trial, and in the course of the trial, she sought permission to travel abroad for medical reasons and then remain in the United States for the rest of the trial. The trial court convicted her of the offenses charged, and then an appeal was filed by her lawyers in May 2024. I want this to be made abundantly clear that it was my predecessor who filed the appeal. However, coming into office, I reviewed what was filed, and I directed the Director of Public Prosecutions to file opposing the appeal, because we believe that the High Court judgment had merit. Now, with this judgment, I've also directed the Director of Public Prosecutions to file a notice of appeal and apply for stay of execution, meaning that if the stay is granted, the status quo will prevail until such a time that the Supreme Court has had time to review the appeal and then made a determination. So that is all that I can say for now. I have a soft copy of the judgment. I'm yet to peruse it and then come to a firm conclusion as to what will be our grounds of appeal. But I want to emphasize that I believe that the judgment of the High Court had merit, and that the United States District Court that extradited her to Ghana had a basis for making a determination that she was the proper subject for extradition. And that is all that I will say for now.
Yes. So confirms everything I said, the 4 points, and that's it. They agree with the judge, they believe the evidence was solid, they believe that the ruling was solid, and that's hard and Antino. And yes, what best sign Godfred, I mean, a year and the son of kind of traveled between 2 cases. And oh yeah. But for those asking, what were the details? Judge Nena, the man who prosecuted the case on behalf of the state, Yura Penka, on a deputy attorney general. You could see any.
The first time I reviewed the documents, personally when the copies were made for us to have a look at it by the Attorney General and to have a conference to discuss the details. I actually cringed. I couldn't believe it. The facts were like they were concocted, to be very honest with you. The facts were like they were concocted. Because this was not just stealing, but as to borrow a word from Dog, naked thievery. You know, in one of the charges, something, do you know what happened? The boss of MASLOC decided to give a loan to a rural bank. And they did not even reach any agreement. Yet the money was transferred to the rural bank. When the money got to the account of the rural bank, the people then asked, okay, so what is the interest rate of the money you have sent to us? Imagine something that you should have done earlier was not even done. Then the interest rate was then quoted by Sedina. When the interest rate was quoted, the rural bank management said, look, the interest rate you have quoted, if we pick this money, we cannot make any money out of it, so we want to return it to you. What do? Good corporate practice. You write to them and give your account, MASLOC account. Then they pay the money directly into the account and produce receipt for accountability purposes. You know what she said? She directed them to cash the money and bring it to Accra. And then they cashed the money in a Ghana must go, carried it to Accra. They met at Bachona filling station, Total filling station, and the money was packed into her boot and she drove away. And that ended it. She's been convicted of that particular charge.
Yeah. So
then the second one.
Yes.
I'm giving you, I'm just itemizing them because I have the facts. I don't need to even read anything.
Yeah.
The second one, they were supposed to do some nationwide sensitization workshops for some category of persons with respect to matters like this. The money was about 2 million Ghana cedis. Less than 5% was used for the intended purpose. The rest was shared. As if it was ground nuts. Look, there was a fire disaster in one of the markets. Some money was allocated to help the victims. Just a little percentage of it was used. The rest, they shared it. There were some phones they had to buy. One on the market, 100 cedis. The prices they quoted, 400 each. Clearly, some vehicles were procured. In fact, those vehicles even delayed the trial because we had finished all the charges and then we bumped on a report which indicated that vehicles had been bought, some of them at thrice the market price. Some at thrice the market price. Some at twice the market price. We had to amend our charges to include all these. And remember that they were found guilty of over 70 charges. All of them.
78.
Yes. In fact, it is one of the most nauseating cases I have come across in legal prosecution. Because the act of impunity, naked thievery and robbery perpetuated by them was frightening. And you see, when the judgment was read, I posted something on my social media handle. I indicated that it was not a moment for anybody to celebrate. It was not a moment for anybody to be joyous, but for us all to have a sober reflection.
In fact, Tua Yeboah
Yes.
has been saying,
Yes.
all those in office now,
Yes.
take a cue.
That's what I'm just coming to say. You see, you have to be very, very careful. Day of accountability will come. And when it comes, you will be in that dock alone. And the wheels of justice may grind slowly, but in the end, when the pronouncement is made and you are taken away to Insawam, you would come to the realization that acts of impunity cannot go unpunished and go forever. If you look at the conduct of even the principal person, which even made Justice Sefia Sewa very angry. I mean, that the state didn't take enough steps or action to be able to have her in Ghana to face trial. Because clearly whatever she did it in order to evade conviction. That was why they had to try her in absentia in line with the constitutional principle and dictate. But I'm saying this again, that those in office now ought to take a clue from this. And this is the third time, and all those cases passed through my hand anyway, as Deputy Attorney General in charge of criminal prosecution. This is the third case of a very nauseating nature. The first one was NCA. At a point in time, some money was shared like groundnuts, and they secured conviction. Then this one. And the third one, you remember venture capital. You remember venture capital? In that particular case, they had to take advantage of Section 35 of the Courts Act. And then they did a plea bargain. They were convicted, and then they went ahead to pay. If you look at a combination of these cases and the convictions that have been secured, and then at least the amounts of money involved and etc., a lot would have been saved to this nation. But as I have stated time and again, those in office now ought to take a clue from this. And I thank my brother Chia Yebua for the statement he has made. They have to take a cue. Because it is very, very, very juicy.
Initially, the court,
dip your hand in there and fetch.
Initially, the court, there were people who were very critical about the court, that it was not being sympathetic. She was not well. She needed bail to be able, she needed opportunity to travel, take care of herself. And this was like a media trial. And eventually, the court had to succumb and say, well, go and take care of yourself and come. And she goes, she doesn't come.
She doesn't come.
The question Ghanaians are asking now is this judgment as empty as the paper?
Well, something, remember that even at the initial stages, I thought that there was going to be another step that would have been taken, an international collaboration to get her brought back for face justice.
We're told
but if you try that, you know, most of the countries up there, they will think there is political persecution, and so they will not allow it. They will even extradite the person. But now that we have secured conviction, the person is a convict,
right?
And you have to come and serve your sentence. So what they now need to do is to collaborate with the U.S. authorities and the anti-corruption agencies there to ensure that the person is extradited to come and serve the term.
Yes. So that is the details of the case. Now, for me, I think that that's the only option the government has. And the government, look at the script and something that tells you about what I said earlier. The optics. No, Anna, my own so comment say when na when nane a we den. When nane a we den. Mo semantics so ade o den ho akawura. So I think that is a good decision. And for me, I think someone for we that's the shocking thing we all get. Hey, 2 we don't have an issue, but 3 I'm avoiding the temptation not to go on certain tangent, but hey, so that's the position of the Attorney General and the governor. I think that is good. It's the only option they have, especially because there's acquittal. And as I've told you, because of double jeopardy, the only route now is to go to the Supreme Court and review. And I'm also happy that they are not saying that they are going to appeal. They are appealing and also ordering for a stay. Meaning, Sedina Tamakloe mean free prison and coffee. What I say, won't mean free prison coffee. That's how fast, because the lawyers now, they need to go and get the copy of the judgment.
As you may already know, the judgment will be ready by close of today, and so we would all pick it up and then read it, and then we can do thorough discussion on same. However, the crux of what Milord said today is that in fact Sedina, my client, is indeed acquitted and discharged, and that the charge sheet which founded the allegations against her were defective, and so same could not have as it were founded the whole process or the entire process. Once the foundation was weak, then everything that follows will fall.
So let me understand this better. When you say the foundation of the charges were weak, what exactly do you mean? In fact, in your arguments, you said that the charges were fundamentally defective. Explain to me in simple words, what does this mean? So
the reason I'm going to refrain from doing that, because I want to see the reasoning of Milos, whether they, as it were, agreed with me entirely, or perhaps they also had some issues, so that we don't miseducate the public. So we can speak on this maybe subsequently. I'm just applying for the judgment because, like you heard, Milo said it will be ready today. So I'm applying for same. Once I pick it, we can always have thorough discussions on it.
The court said your client has been acquitted and discharged.
That's right.
What's the arrangement? Is she going to be out of prison today?
So, I mean, we'll have to take the necessary steps and then bring the judgment to the attention of the Republic. Yeah. And then she'll be released from prison.
So based on the step, when do you think that she'll be out of prison?
So, like I just said, we've just applied. In fact, we are applying for the copy, a certified copy, and then we'll take the necessary steps. So, I mean, you know, from my end, I mean, I would wish that she's even out now. But of course, you know, these things, I mean, there are procedural steps to take. So we'll ensure that we do everything today and then as much as possible before the week ends. I mean, we anticipate that she should be out.
You have been very close to this, to Sedina. What was going through her mind ahead of this judgment today?
Oh, I mean, of course, I mean, you know, in matters like this, I mean, she's always been prayerful. She's a person of faith, so she's always been prayerful, and she's always, I mean, been convinced that, I mean, once the Court of Appeal, I mean, went into the matters, I mean, she will be set free. So, I mean, this a victory for the rule of law.
Yes. What say? They need to go and get the copy of the judgment and then apply to the prison service to get him released. So if the state gets to also the stay, you know, pending the appeal, because appeal need the money, yeah, because there's a legal vacation on Baba September. August 1 on Baba September 2 months. So apply stay. I said them to be them to 2 months. No, say stay now far. Obeko few 2 months. No, answer no mu free legal vacation ba no. Ena. Abia stay ne fa obekum enti the Supreme Court so be can do certainly on the critical analyst channel me the be o ma me nkodi me benko mo nhwe make sure so subscribe am subscribe and click bell notification me the video be at one be hu net one you certainly have a comment feel free leave that comment in the comments. And again, I employ lawyers, constitutional students, whatever. Abia me might be I'm wrong, feel free share it in the comments section. We learn, and I'll certainly reference your comments and give you the thumbs up. But that's it. So bye bye.